Ladies and gentlemen, game number 3. We are here on Whirlwind LE, a map that has recently departed the ladder map pool, but for this particular tournament that this replay set is from the MSI Saturday Showdown from the 9th of November, we actually had it because it's a pretty decent map for, well, macro games, I guess you could say. You do tend to see some big macro games on this one, but overall, I have got to say that personally, I'm kind of happy that it's gone. But anyway, let's talk about these two lovely players that we have here on Whirlwind. Of course, we've seen the past couple of games. In game number 1, it went the way of our Zerg player. In game number 2, it went the way of our Protoss down here at the bottom left-hand side. From Team Flash, it is Blysk. And you can go and check out Blysk's stream. It's over at twitch.tv//flashblysk. Oh my god, the ashes in there is really scary. You can also say hello to him at twitter.com/helloblysk is his set of a couple of social medias. You can also, if you do a search on Facebook, you can also find his Facebook page in there. I have been meaning to start putting in players' Facebook pages on the little introduction thing as well, but I'm actually sort of in the middle of getting some new things designed so that I can put it in a little bit of a nicer fashion than this crappy little Sony Vegas little text thing that I've been using. But anyway, his opponent over in the bottom right hand side, unfortunately he does not stream. He does not have a Twitter. I've tried to say to him that he should, but apparently it hasn't happened yet. From Team AVANT Gaming, it is KingKong. And as we have mentioned the past couple of games, he's all the way from Korea, moved out here and is doing some studying, becoming a chef, learning how to bake some Zerg bakery goods, and just winning some tournaments on the side of that. I mean, I'm not sure if that's sort of an issue with the way with the way that we play down here in Australia, or if it's just a testament to how good this guy is. But studying full time, just winning all the tournaments and that kind of stuff, being one of actually I should say not winning all of them. Shout out to Iagos and Pig and a couple of the other guys there who are also really good. But doing really well in tournaments consistently down here in Australia, and also studying at the same time would be pretty difficult to do. Also learning English as well. I mean, it's not easy to come to another country, play a game, study, and learn the language as well. Especially Australian. I'm sure it's a little bit annoying to get. Well, not annoying. Sorry, it's a little bit weird to get used to some of the colloquialisms and things like that we have here. But anyway, let's talk about our game. 3 hatch before pool yet again from KingKong. He's decided to take us into a little bit of an eco cheese based opening. Yes, I did call it an eco cheese. A lot of the time, people sort of say cheese is only when you're aggressive and that kind of stuff. But to me, an eco cheese is also a Nexus first in PvT. It's a 3 hatch before pool in ZVP or even ZVT. God, if you 3 hatch before pool, that's certainly asking for it. But as we can see, KingKong is going to have a quick scout out. He will find out that his opponent is down here in the bottom left-hand side of the map, but does look like he's going to lose this Overlord, I think. Of course, the Overlord can sort of bounce back and forth between these two sides here, but I mean, a second unit is going to come out, and there it is. The sentry is going to come along. He's going to shine his flashlight, says, "Who goes there?" And his Overlord pops open. A couple of gateways are now just being built at the front door of Blysk's base. Now, of course, with this particular map, you can always wall it off quite nicely. You set up a couple of the 3x3 buildings there, and then you can have just a little pylon on the side, back and forth entries through that side, and then you're good to go. So it is a really easy map to set up that natural base there. And as you can see, with KingKong now getting his economy into shape, we've got a bunch of drones out. We have his speed just about to finish up, and he will be sitting very, very comfortably here as we move into sort of, well, I guess the end of the early game. So he will be able to drone up consistently here with another 8 more on the way. Going to take him to a total of 40. Link speed just finishing up. A second gas is also coming through now for KingKong, and we'll see where he wants to go. In game number 2 on Yonsu, we did see him go to a 3 hatch before pool, and he decided that a swarm host play was the way that he was going to move forwards with that. And I mean, we'll see what he wants to do this time. Wow, great little How did that probe was like stuck? I don't know what's going on there, but he did go to Swarm Host, tried to play it out, but unfortunately Blysk just had this wonderful strategy, sending around DTs and Zealots, hacking apart drones, taking apart hatcheries as well, and then moved up to, what was it, 4 Robo Production of Colossus. And I mean, at that point, it's a little bit difficult to actually make your economy work, especially with Swarm Host when you're basically a 3 base Zerg against a 5 base Protoss. It's a little bit difficult to work with. Of course, you do generally want to have more bases than the Protoss for the majority of the time. So we did see KingKong fall down in game number 2. Meanwhile, here in game number 3, we've got a Twilight Council coming up from Blysk, starting to look very similar to the previous game that he played. We'll have a lot of sentries here. This is going to be a huge amount of energy. We are going to get, what, a total of, 5 gates now up and running for Blysk once he finishes off these last few. He's still probing up at the moment, so we would expect that Blysk is going to move forwards towards that 3rd base. I don't think he's going to try and just push out. Why do we say that? Well, I mean, he doesn't have any high tech. We have no Robo, we have no Stargate. The only thing that he has coming in terms of tech is this Blink. So it is not going to allow him to easily push forwards. You need Immortals, you need Colossus, you need Void Rays, you need something to be able to deal with the masses of Zerg units that you get to see when you arrive at their base. So we will see the 3rd base get started here. It is going to be cancelled, I would assume. Trying to force field out to save the day. I don't think that's going to help. Oh, wow. Actually, it will. I thought there were more Lings there for some reason. I thought a couple were trapped behind the force field, but he does actually save the Nexus there. Very impressed by that from Blysk, and now KingKong is going to have to figure out a way to deal with this. He says, let's build another 18 Lings. We've got +1 to melee and carapace on the way. Roach speed is also being researched right now, so we are going to have a very heavy ground-based play from KingKong here, with the signs coming from the fact that we can see melee upgrades being added in for him. Means that he is obviously going to want to stick with possibly something revolving around Lings and Banes to try and defend, but of course a lot of it will be based on these Lings. So Blysk is going to try and do his best to defend this 3rd base, but this time I think it is going to go down. KingKong has decided to target down everything there, but wait, are you serious? The Lings will go down, and well, apparently I called that all wrong. So the Nexus will survive for now. Blysk is going to start to set up a couple of cannons. I think at this point here, as Blysk, you would want to set up another cannon, finish off the wall on this side as well, and then maybe he'll be able to keep that alive. But you can really tell that KingKong he really wants to kill off that base. He just sacrificed like 20 Lings to try and kill it and didn't get it done. So it hasn't really hurt him in the economy stakes. Why? Because we had that 3rd base so early. Our drone count is sitting up at 67 already. We're now going to a 4th base. This is where things slow down a little bit because of those Lings. This 4th base possibly could have been a little bit earlier here, but we will see a push now get started for Blysk. He's finished up his +2 to weapons. We've got Blink. We've got a Warp Prism now coming about to try and add in some warped in units as well. Will KingKong see that? Yes, he will. And he'll say, alright, well, I better prepare my queens. I better chuck down maybe a spine crawler inside the main base, but the Warp Prison will come along freely to the attempted 4th and should be able to force, well, actually, no. I thought the rest of the units were going to come along too, but no, he's just going to leave it be for the moment, and it looks like Blysk actually wants to push in on this base, but we do have some spines prepared at the top of the ramp, just ready to rumble if anyone tries to push up, and then the rest of the units across to the side are also ready to come through as well. KingKong struggling to figure out where he's going to go. He knows that War Prism is out there somewhere, but he decides that he wants to come across and try and deal with this big attack at his 3rd base. A couple of time warps, a wonderful force field blocking out a lot of the roaches here as well, and Blysk is going to take a very easy fight there, killing off a lot of the units before they can escape to the safety of the spine crawlers. But KingKong now barrels his way down the ramp and says, let's do this, my friend. I've got Lings all over the place, since the force fields will block out the roaches for now, but the Lings will certainly get some damage done. More nice force fields there from Blysk, able to hold some of the units out. The War Prism has now brought in some Zealots across at the 4th base, so he will force the cancel. Oh, sorry, he will force that to, well, I guess, die, as the hatchery is just about to topple over. down it goes. So the Zealots are now jump into that War Prism. We'll probably see them head in towards the main base here as well. But as you can see, KingKong nicely prepared, has some roaches and lings ready to go there. Blysk, meanwhile, has finished up that wall that we mentioned up at his natural base. I do like seeing these kinds of walls here. I don't think people utilize these sorts of things enough. Is just sort of making these little merry-go-round kind of wall off where you have to actually go around and around that the buildings to try and get to a cannon or the mineral line or something like that. So I do like seeing that. But what we do need to see here from Blysk is some more tech starting to come out, and we do have Immortals on the way. His Robo Bay is just well, it's just barely started right now. +3 to weapons is coming, but so is KingKong, now marching his way through the middle of the map. He's found a pylon here. We'll kill off a couple of the pylons. Now this could be very interesting, because if Blysk is able to segment some of these forces, oh, well, okay, never mind, they're not going to engage. I think, yeah, KingKong wants to jump around the side. He's going to try and head in towards the third base, but decides that he will back off for now. And the Observer, still keeping an eye on this fourth base, is going to see what's happening here. But now, in come the Roaches, and the Lings are going to have to run around. The Roaches should be able to take care of that cannon in just a second there, and the Lings will go to town on that Nexus. In comes Blysk, but unfortunately he's down the bottom of the ramp, which means it is a little bit of trouble for him to get inside, and now he's going to lose many probes here as the Lings are going to go to work on as much of that mineral line as he can, but eventually he is going to kill off the rest of the Lings here. But the important part for KingKong, his Roaches have escaped. We have Ultras now starting to pop out, and with 3-3 now researching here for our Zerg player. Chitinous plating also being upgraded for those Ultras as well. He is going to start to head towards a very big powerful tech, but the problem, well, not a problem, but I would say the foreseen issue that we have here is that he really needs to get this fourth base. We need that extra gas coming in. You can't really support Ultras off just a simple 3 bases. If you're going to go for low-tech kind of Ling Ultra, then, you know, maybe you can support it for a little while, but not long-term. And Blysk is going to make sure that that does not happen. Dropping in a Zealot here to warp in on that base and try and keep it occupied for now. A little bit more of the old walling game going on here for Blysk. He's trying to set up a little bit of a small space here, but very cleverly sets up some pylons out in front. Knows that those Ultras are there. They have a very hard time trying to get through these kinds of positions here. And when they funnel, they are very fat units. They need to head over to lose some weight. But I mean, they can't get through properly and unleash their full power, and that is why you see a lot of high-level Protoss players will try and wall out Ultralisk. But we see the Roaches over here at the third base getting taken apart by the Stalkers, slowly but surely. Speaking of taken apart, Ultra bodies falling to the ground as they get stormed. The Stalkers will chase after them, very brave, but they do have +3 to weapons in their blink. They also do that bonus damage to armor targets. Meanwhile, the Roaches of KingKong, the third base has been stopped a second time, and now KingKong is going to retreat for now, but his own fourth base still, where is it? We do have a Zealot blocking off for now. We've got another hatchery up towards the top right hand side of the map, but Blysk, he still has a very powerful force out. We've got a lot of these Stalkers here. The Immortals have been added into the mix too. I really like the way he has adapted his composition to deal with this mixture that KingKong has set up. Lots of Lings, lots of Ultras are now out as well, and Vipers are slowly starting to be added to the field now. So we'll see the supporting Vipers being added in here for KingKong. Lings are going to come across, getting funneled through and annihilated within seconds inside that third base. We'll probably see a blink. Maybe? No blink, but the one Zealot blocking off the fourth base has had a wonderful time just sitting off to the side. Where is the Warp Prism? Is it still... Okay, the Warp Prism is still out here, active on the map. Very nicely done by Blysk. He's done this in game number 1 and number 3. He has been able to try and keep his opponent at... Oh, sorry, game 2 and 3. Now he's been keeping his opponent at bay, just trying to delay the expansions by dropping down units everywhere. You will be able to see that we have that hatchery now going down, but a few of the Roaches have again made their way up towards the the middle left of the map here, taking out a single pylon and then a cannon that was attempted to be built as well. But KingKong, I mean, he's looking pretty good at the moment, but I just sort of worried about his extra bases coming up, but we'll see, because Blysk has not got his own third base. He has not had this mining for a very long time. He is very low on gas and minerals at this point. If he loses this Nexus again, I think he could be in a lot of trouble, but we'll see. Looks like the Roaches are really getting some work done on the backside of this fight. We see the Vipers abducting some of the Corruptors. Wonderful work there, pulling in some of those powerful units, but the Immortals are still getting a lot of work done. The Ultras, of course, very, very slow units, and the creep spread from KingKong has been very, very lax for his kind of quality. I'm very surprised that he does not have that in the middle of the map here. These Archons and the Stalkers are now chasing after the Ultras here. They do have a ton of health, so it is going to take a long time to burn them down, but eventually Blysk will certainly be able to get in there and slowly take them out. Meanwhile, the third Nexus has finally gone up. We'd love to see Blysk even possibly try and put down another Nexus somewhere just for a little bit of safety's sake, but he is now just pushing forwards. He has decided now is the time to come to the party, and he is going to push forwards. Zealous now warping in. Warp Prism is going to chase after the rest of these units here to keep an eye on what is going on. In fact, he's going to scout forwards with that. Actually, no, he's just sort of keeping it alongside the rest of the units, but now he is pushing through Ultras and Roaches in the middle of the map. KingKong attempting to set up a flank here with Ultras from the side, Lings and Ultras from the main, and then of course the rest of the units down here at the back, but will it be enough? He needs to get a beautiful concave on all of this position here. It will be very difficult. Hallucinated Immortals are now coming in to take up some of the damage, but the Ultras pushing through the force fields. Ultras coming from the back. KingKong, is he going to be able to do this? The Vipers dropping down some blinding cloud as well. The Stalkers are getting torn apart. The Colossi are doing some work, but I mean the Ultras eventually are going to hack them apart. But DTs are warped in here from Flash Blysk, and it looks as if he is going to be able to take care of quite a lot of these units here, and he will back off for the moment. I would like to see Blysk perhaps just head back home for the moment, but the DTs are now going to be found. This speedy Overlord with its pneumatized carapace is going to be chasing after everything here, but does KingKong have the economy to keep up with this? He does have his adrenal glands upgrade for his Lings, so he can spend a little bit more money on his Lings and actually have them be in a very, very efficient force, but I don't know why he doesn't have them with the rest of the units, but he will now head across. We had a Zealot that somehow made its way all the way across up to this base here. Did scout it out, and it has been protected for now, though. Lots of Lings out on the map here for KingKong. 86 in total, alongside the 5 Ultras, 5 Corruptors. A single Viper is out, and more Corruptors are now on the way. So KingKong attempting to put this game in his favor right now. I'm just questioning whether he has the economy to do it at this point. His main, natural, and third are almost mined out. His fourth has taken a very long time to get up and running. It turns out this was the fourth, and this will be a fifth just across here on the right-hand pocket base. But back at home for Blysk, we've got his upgrades now starting to really churn in. +1 on the armor is now done. I would love to see a couple more upgrades come out here from Blysk, but he's busy spending a lot of these resources on getting these power units out to make sure he can defend. Like at the moment, this is basically all that Blysk has. A couple of Archons, a couple of Templars, some Immortals, and then some Stalkers as well. I mean, it's not exactly the hugest fighting force at this point, so that's why we don't see him pushing out just yet. We don't see him picking up a 4th base just at the moment, because he's going to have a little bit of trouble defending it. The Broodlords are now on their way. KingKong's going to support them with a Viper. We'll see how that goes. Of course, the Blinding Cloud can really help out in defending the Broodlords, but I mean, I guess I would love to see... You know, the main point is that I would love to see a lot of the ground forces keeping up. There we go. Lings and Ultras now trailing behind. They're slowly going to waddle their way forwards. The creep spread has finally just about reached the middle, but the Broodlords are now coming in. These guys are going to be hell on earth for these units on the ground to deal with, of course, because there are no real fighting forces to deal with all of those Broodlords. We don't have any Void Rays. There's no Phoenix or even hell, even like carriers or something crazy like that. There is nothing like that out there for Blysk. How is he going to deal with this? We'll find out very soon. KingKong comes in, sacrifices the Lings to take care of that 3rd base. The Broodlords are now in a very open position. You have to be very careful about this kind of setup here as a Zerg player, but the Lings, the Ultras are now charging forwards, running into the Wall of Storm here, blinking across to the side, trying to dodge that blinding cloud from the Vipers. A little bit of feedback going on, trying to take out some of the energy from the Vipers. The Ultras are going to work on the Immortals, but I mean, Immortals are just absolute tanks. They say not today. Some Stalkers will come across and try and deal with the Broodlords, but unfortunately for Flash Blysk, that will be the end of him, and game number 3 goes the way of our Korean KingKong, who has taken 3rd place in this tournament now, thanks to this particular series. Hope you all enjoyed this set of casts. Make sure you do subscribe to my YouTube channel here, and also say hello on facebook.com/duckfield.casting, also over at Twitter, twitter.com/duckfieldlong. Thanks for watching, guys. Laters. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really nicely there. And for Minigun, he's been sticking with a much more